Well, this is Greg Dorst, and we're live on Facebook. So this is Open at the Top. We're trying something new because we are always open at the top. And what I'm trying is the landscape view off of my phone for Facebook Live, which gives you a wider pan. And first time I tried this, I ended up sideways. But this time, what I did was research and find out that there's a way to do this. And I think I found out a way to do it. So here we are at the lake. Now, this lake here is absolutely magnificent, especially tonight. I mean, the water is calm and cool, and the wind is blowing just a tiny bit. The breeze is gorgeous. We'll have some birds coming in a little while. You know, Jackie was telling me that this lake is larger than she thought it was. I think she did a little research on it and found out that it was 22 acres of water, which is pretty good. I mean, you take a look across this lake and you see how absolutely gorgeous it is and how expansive it is. And of course, what you see in the distance is the state park. It's called the Chino Hills State Park. And so we shouldn't have too much building, I wouldn't think, on this space. So here we are, Open at the Top. So this is what we do for Open at the Top, you guys. What we do for Open at the Top is we put our hands up like this, so that we can receive all the good that is due us, that we actually are in possession of, but we consciously understand that we receive it. And we may not receive it through these hands, but this just says that we are ready to receive. We are open to receive. We are willing to receive, and so we do. When we are willing and ready and open, then we can receive all the goodness that God has to give us, all the goodness that this universe has to give us, all the magnificence of life right here and right now. So we have our producer, Jackie. Yay. Yeah, there she is. And we have our technical staff here, which is Harley today. Woo. Yeah, there. Thank you, Jackie, for that. She's doing sound too. I think that's fantastic. So Open at the Top. That was the name of a book. It was called Open at the Top, The Life of Ernest Holmes. And it was written by a guy by the name of Neil Valley. Neil Valley wrote the book Open at the Top in 1993 about Ernest Holmes. But he was an author doing many, many different things. I think he was really interested in the Unity Church because he did some books on the Fillmores. And he also did 2 books on baseball, and which is really kind of interesting, a little bit odd, kind of a little bit of trivia, but he did 2 books on baseball besides this Ernest Holmes book and a couple of other books. And his last name is spelled V-A-L-H-E. I think it's Valley. Anyway, he died yesterday. He transitioned yesterday. And so I thought I would take this moment. To just let everybody know that our Open at the Top beautiful service, the one that wrote the book Open at the Top, has transitioned to something new and something different. So anyway, here we are. I think what we're going to do to start off with is talk about the title, because the title of this talk today is Thanking a Monkey. Now, that's a weird title, I know, Thanking a Monkey. And it has a meaning. There's something there for you, and you'll be able to see this as we move through it tonight. So, thanking a monkey starts off like this. Here we are in the midst of a situation, a circumstance, something unique and fascinating, actually, something brand new for us here on this earth at this particular time, a pandemic that has kept us home. And what we're seeing throughout the United States now is some discord, some difficulty with this idea that we should stay at home, some dis-ease, so to speak, around following certain rules that might be helpful to other people. Now, I get that. You know, I mean, we've been cooped up for a while. There's some things we haven't been able to do. And some of the people that are stepping out are acting as if they're brave. I mean, they are showing courage by getting close to each other. They're showing courage by not wearing masks. And that sense of courage is really only in their own minds. But I think what they're doing is not appropriately apprehending the actual issue, what's really going on. Because what's really happening is that this idea of fear is slipping in, and the first indication that fear is slipping into a person's life is that they start to feel like a victim. And so the people that are out there are saying, I'm a victim. I'm being kept from doing the things that I want to do. I have a right to do this. I have a right to walk the streets. I have a right to not wear face coverings, and that's okay. You know, I mean, they do. They actually do. I mean, this is America, but we certainly hope that people have something in them that says, I really want to be a good steward of the entire world. So they try and act as if they've got courage, but what's really happening is the victimhood is being portrayed. Now, if you want to really get a sense of when you're getting into fear around anything, look for the victimhood. Are you feeling like the victim? I mean, has somebody placed you in a position where you feel like you're a victim? Has an organization done something to you, makes you feel like a victim? Has your family treated you in a way that makes you feel like a victim? I mean, you may not think that this idea of victimhood has anything to do with fear, but it does. You see, because as soon as you become a victim of something, you're worried and concerned that you're going to lose something that you already have, or may not get something that you really want. So what happens after this victimhood issue sets in is that we start to see in ourselves welling up some anger around this. And anger, as a secondary emotion, really is all about fear. So that if you have this anger coming up, you can be assured that fear is really behind all of this. So anger is not a sign or a symptom of courage or bravery. It is a sign or a symptom of fear, and there's a welling up of this fear emotion, which has to be dealt with. I mean, we really can't go around living in fear, living in this space where we are completely overshadowed by what it is we think is going to happen to us, or what it is we truly believe will happen to us that's bad. You know, Ernest Holmes does a great bit on fear. He says that fear really is demonstrated through the way we see our lives unfolding, and that's through our belief system. He says fear is really the absolute belief that you're going to get what you don't want. You know, that you're going to have in your life what it is that you don't want. And so the absolute belief that you're going to get something you don't want is described on page 52 of the Science of Mind book. It really is. It says that, you know, sometimes people say, you know, this thought into things thing doesn't really work. I mean, I do my prayer work, you know, I believe, I have faith, and I don't see things showing up. And I'll ask the question, at depth, and Ernest asked this too, at depth, do you really not believe that this is true? Well, you know, maybe I don't. Maybe I really don't believe that this is true. Maybe I don't have the faith that this is true. Well, if you don't, then it won't work, and that's a demonstration of your faith. You see, because you have the faith that it won't work. You have the belief that it won't work, and so it works by not working. And so here we are in this day and age where we see right in front of us people standing up and saying, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. They get angry. They express themselves in angry ways, yelling at cars, stopping traffic, whatever it is to get the attention, to perhaps try and express their bravery by not wearing the masks and by not social distancing. They really show to people who know about these kinds of things, and you do now, they're really showing their fear. So we have to really take a look at these emotions that are interesting and unique and different and are really based in fear, so that we can start to heal ourselves in ways that are very, very cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to take a look at this issue. Can you recognize, these thoughts that you're having of being a victim, of being angry, of being anxious, or having some severe anxiety around some of the things that are happening to you that are really born in fear? Can you recognize those things as lower thoughts, as thoughts that perhaps you've had some shame around? And if you've had shame around it, then good, because we're going to work through that too, because we're going to take a really, really good look at that. Because at this juncture where you can recognize these thoughts and recognize where they're from, recognize the victimhood based in fear, recognize the anger, which is truly fear, the anxiety, and perhaps the incumbent shame around that, what you have to do when you see those things is say thank you. You just say thank you for them. Because what they're really doing is trying to protect you. You see, the reason why you have these thoughts in the first place are because they're protective. And so you get to say thank you for popping up, so that I could be protected, so that I could see that not only I'm protected, but I'm worth protecting. So now these thoughts, these emotions that you may not be proud of as a religious scientist or as a minister, as a practitioner, now these thoughts have some utility, you see. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for being there for me to point something out to me. And it allows you to kind of step out of them for a moment, because that's the real goal, to be able to step out of those thoughts. Stepping out, wow, that seems like it would be easy if you were going out to dinner or walking out of your house or leaving a building or a gathering or whatever. Yeah, I'm just stepping out. But really, stepping out of thoughts is a little bit different. It's a little bit more serious. You know, there's a poem that it's kind of prose poetry that was written by a woman by the name of Kavari Patel. And I call it poetry because it really is, but a lot of people might think it's prose, and it goes like this. There is a monkey in my mind, swinging on a trapeze, reaching back to the past or leaning into the future, never standing still. Sometimes I want to kill that monkey so I won't have to think anymore or feel the pain of worry. But today, I thanked her, and she jumped down straight into my lap, trapeze still swinging, and we sat still. That is so cool. Recognizing it, doing something about it instead of just pushing it away. The things that we resist persist. And so if you can just step into it first before you step out of it, then you'll have a fighting chance of changing these thoughts. Because stepping out of it, out of those thoughts, is exactly what mindfulness was devised for. And I'll tell you how this works. I'll do it with a story. There is a guy who spent some time in prison, some 7 or 8 years in prison. And now, since he's out, he works with other prisoners in the prison system to try and help them to find a way to live behind bars, to find a way to live in that kind of circumstance. And so what he does is relay, first of all, his story. And his story was this, that he was in prison, able to handle his days really, really well. I mean, he would go out to the yard and he would work out, he would read, he would do things with the people who were in his particular group of prisoners, maybe play some games, maybe some cards, go to work because they each have jobs, and his mind was kind of filled with all that kind of stuff during the day, and it wasn't hard for him. His days were not hard. But at night, he would lie down in his bed, and his mind would go to all the people he hurt and all the difficulties that he had created for his family and his spouse and his kids, and how he had fallen short, and his guilt and his shame and his remorse was absolutely unlivable. And so what he did was he learned on his own techniques of stepping out of your thoughts. started to become aware of sounds around him, which might indicate that maybe a new prisoner had come on the cell block. You know, maybe there's additional snoring or a different voice that he hadn't recognized before. Or he would listen for the voices of the guards that he knew to be, you know, certain guards in there, and new guards that he'd never heard before. He listened to see whether or not those were new voices. He became aware of his circumstances in the moment. He became mindful in the moment. And he was able to kind of piece together a picture of what was going on in the very moment in a jail cell where he really couldn't see anything. And so that's a beautiful example of how mindfulness, being in the moment, being in the now, can pull you out of those thoughts after you've recognized that they're tearing you apart. And so it's a really magnificent endeavor for him to try and teach some of these prisoners in prison to be more mindful of their circumstances, which will create a more palatable experience and lessen the chances of violence and discord. Because I'll tell you, from what I know, the stories I've read, the people that I've talked to, it is just unbelievable, but it's true, that people can actually find peace, can actually find a life that matters in a jail cell, in a prison cell. I mean, it seems like the most horrible thing possible, but if you want, you can build a life that way, because it's not all about your physical surroundings. It's about what's going on up here, you see. So here we are. We're in this situation where we have now taken a look, and we've stopped, we've taken a look at our thoughts, and we have recognized that we can step out of them. And now, once we've stepped out of those, we have to absolutely know that whatever it is that we're stepping into, the edge of that has to be softened. So if for some reason there's something happening in the now that you don't want to pay attention to, soften your edge. Ease into it. Don't find a hard edge. Soften that edge so that you can ease into it and accept it more readily. Now, this idea of softening is kind of interesting, because all you need to do is say the word softening and you start to relax a little bit, you know? I mean, if you said, I have a real hard edge about this, you know, I mean, I'm not going to accept that. I'm just not going to give in to that feeling or whatever it might be. If I have a real hard edge, then that's severe. You know, I mean, that doesn't bring about a feeling of peace or love or, you know, the things that we really want to see in our lives, which are alignment and harmony. But softening does. So that if I can soften my edge, you know, in the moment, I can actually be more in touch with what's going on rather than push it away. So, you know, part of what I've been doing around here to soften the edge a little bit is to pull up some old songs that I remember singing with you guys in the sanctuary when we were meeting there on Wednesdays. And one in particular that I want to do tonight, because you probably saw the guitar. If you can see the guitar over here, I'm going to use it. One in particular was written by all of you, or many of you that are watching tonight, because in the first Open at the Top, which was called A New Design for Living back then, the first Open at the Top, we decided that we were going to write a song to commemorate the existence of that Wednesday night service. And so I asked for ideas around what it is that people wanted to see, what it is we wanted to be able to give people that walked in the door, you know, what it is we wanted to be for the world to see. Did we want to be a celebration? Sure. Did we want to feel grace? Absolutely. And to give it. We wrote it out. People wrote those things out and handed it to me. And I said, you know, I'm going to take this stuff and I'm going to write a song with what it is that you want to see and what it is you want to feel and what you think other people should see and feel. Yes. And so we did that. And this is how it turned out. So I pull it out so I can soften my edge when things get a little interesting and unique. And you ready to play with me, Harley? He's right up here doing his technical thing. So if you remember this, shove those hearts up, you know, push that heart button. Step into the arms of love. It's a feeling you can take hold of. Join us in our celebration. Feel the grace flow through your heart. Embrace the friendship and connection. When you become a part of healing and inspiration, balance and faith, prayer and contemplation, freedom and grace. I say amen. Amen. Sing it with me. Amen. Amen. I say amen. 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 And so it is. So we've stepped into the arms of love. It's a feeling that we took hold of. You've joined us in our celebration. Feel the grace flow through your heart. Embrace the friendship and connection. Now that you become a part of healing and inspiration, balance and faith, prayer and contemplation, freedom and grace. I say amen. 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 I say amen. 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 And so it is. Woo-hoo. And the crowd goes crazy, and the birds are going wacky. Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. There he goes. That means encore, and I got nothing else tonight for that. So here's what I want to do. I am going to leave it in the hands of dear Jackie and Harley to give me the high sign when 2 minutes are up. And so she knows how to use that phone. She's gonna find herself a couple of minutes, and we're gonna go into a 2-minute meditation. And this 2-minute meditation is not gonna be about me talking. It's not gonna be about me guiding you through something. You're just gonna be in the moment, listening to the sounds of the lake and the things that are going on around. I want you to hear the birds, even if it's cars driving on the road on the outskirts of this area. I want you to be mindful of what's happening here. And let's do this for just 2 minutes, okay? All right, this is softening your edge right now. All right, so find yourself a comfortable space. Let's take a deep breath, cleansing breath, in and out. Let's do one more, in and out. All right, that's 2 minutes. So I'm going to tell you what I heard. I hope you heard it too. I heard sounds from what we call around here the birthing tree, and that's in the distance. And the birthing tree is filled with nests. There are cormorant nests there. There are great blue heron nests, and they all have little babies in them now. Probably, what would you say, maybe 15 different nests in that tree? Yeah. And so all the babies are competing for attention about now, you know, and the birds, the parents are out fishing probably, and so I could hear them in the distance. And you know, that really, really reminded me of the wonder, the beauty of life. So that's what I heard. I hope you heard something for yourself that softened your edge. Now, I want to give you a practice. I think that practicing some spiritual tools are a really important aspect of who we are. And this practice is going to be easy for so many of you that I know out there who do this all the time. But just a reminder, and maybe for others who haven't heard this, but the practice is to bring love through you to every meeting that you go to every conversation that you have on the phone, to every in-person conversation that you have, to every Zoom meeting, to everything that you're engaged in with other forms of life. Bring love. Whether it's your dog or your other animals in the house, bring love to that circumstance and have that be right there in the forefront of your mind. Am I bringing love to this situation, to this moment, to this meeting, to this interaction? Am I bringing love? That practice, believe it or not, can help you to stay out of that victimhood, that anger, that anxiety, that anxiousness, and we all know that that's fear. It can help you to stay out of that. Because love is this unbelievable emotion that signifies without doubt the presence of God. And if you want to be in the presence of God, if you truly want to be in the presence of God, you want to feel the presence of God in, around, and through you, in the very locale that you're in, then bring love. Then bring love to the circumstance. And so that's your practice. That's your practice for the week. Now I want to go into a healing or closing prayer so that we can take some of these things and practice them with the people that we live with or that we might talk to. So right now, just know that you are in the right and perfect place, that you have heard absolutely everything that you needed to hear in this moment. Know that you are loved by the people who are right here on this beautiful space, and know that you're loved even by the animals that are giving you their sign of love, you know, that you can hear. Know that you are loved by the earth on Earth Day. Know that you are loved by the air that you breathe, that's brought to you via this beautiful Gaia, this earth itself. Know that you are nourished by the things that are grown of this earth. Know that you are cared for. Know that you are given all of these beautiful emotions within you, all of this beautiful understanding, the higher self, the lower self, the beautiful interior, which is you. Know that you're given that by this thing that we call spirit or God, and that you are in the image of that thing that we call spirit or God. Whatever you want to call it, just know that it's the power behind everything that is and everything that is. And so that's how I know how to give adequate due to a deity, to a divine source, which is worthy of that kind of glory. Because I think that what giving glory to God means is not trying to make God feel good, because God is feel good, but bringing glory to God is recognizing the depth and power and beauty and love and joy that is God. Recognizing that. And the way you can actually give real glory to God is by feeling it in your life. And I know all of these things are true. I recognize them. I bring them forth right now, and I say, this is mine. I accept it. I absolutely accept this goodness. I accept this knowing, this feeling of love, goodness, and joy. It's with great gratitude that I believe that this moment has been divinely appointed for each of us to meet. It's with great gratitude that I recognize the love that you're giving right now to this moment. It's with great gratitude that I recognize my own love for all that is. And I release these words into the law of mind. I let them go. I don't hold on to them. I just let them go, knowing that they're already done, knowing that what I have said is already accomplished right here and right now. And the way we seal that is by saying out loud, and so it is. Right on.
Thank you for showing up today.
Hey, what a beautiful evening. Now, if you like me sitting on the stool instead of standing up, let me know. I actually sat so that I could play the guitar, because I can't play standing up, but I could move it like this. If you like me standing up like this, here it is. Let me know too. And we can do anything. We can do anything. Love you guys.
Yay.
See you soon.
Woohoo!